flood damage does happen in the home. After years of thinking about it, there is another way now. Unlike other solutions, what I came up with has minimal electronics. There's less chance it won't work. There's no microcontrollers, there's no wireless networks, there's no central hub. This mainly consists of an actuator valve, this valve here. You can get it online. And a 555 relay board. So probably something similar to this. The valve does have internal limit switches. These switches would shut the power off in case when the 90-degree ball valve is closed. Just to be sure, I put a 555 timer to make sure the power gets off after 6 seconds. Obviously, you'll have to build this yourself. I take no responsibility whatsoever if it works or doesn't work. And I'm hoping it will work. Here's what you'll need. You'll need a 3/4 inch ball valve. So that's one of these. It's just a standard big box store ball valve. Nothing special. You'll need the actuator motor that I've showed earlier. So one of these. It's a very low power motor. Doesn't have much torque on it. You'll need a 555 timer board. This is the one I built. It's not very pretty. It seems to do the job. You'll need a 12-volt 2-amp power supply or better. So in this case, it's a regular computer power supply, one of these. There's also a 1-inch washing machine hose, half an inch long. So in this case, the clamp doesn't fit. So the hose seems to fit right on the valve. To make up for that, so that's why we have the hose. On my project, I used computer audio cable, so one of these. There's also a strip of paper towel and a little copper wire. I used that insulated telephone wire. The valve, I bought it online. It's 12 volts, and I measured it. It's about 400 milliamps, so it doesn't take very much power. It's got a very small motor inside, so just barely enough to do the job. There's a manual override ring. So you can take this and pull on the ring. That way you can open and okay, so open and close with the ring on. I've put the paper on here because the rubber tends to break with just the pins pushing on them. So hence the paper. It seems to do the job. I did buy the relay board that I showed earlier. It didn't arrive on time. The valve arrived weeks before. So as I said, I ended up building my own board. I'll show you the schematics for it. So these are the schematics I used. It's more or less the same as on this page here. So that's cdselectronics.com, one of theirs. So this is it looks very similar to the $1 relay board. I did have to modify it a little bit to get it to work. So mainly what I did is I added this 470 microfarad capacitor. Because the 555 timer kept losing power and resetting every time the motor switched on. So that seemed to have fixed that. And I added a 100 microfarad capacitor on the emitter leg. And what this does, what I'm hoping it's doing, it only makes sure that you can have one button press. So if you hold the button, the system won't stay on. It'll switch off by itself. And for something like a leak detector, it's important because obviously the water is gonna stay on all the time, and you don't want it to stay on. You just want it on for 6 seconds and then off. And obviously right here across the switch we have the water probes. So in this case my headphone jack is that. Now this particular circuit, it wasn't very clear to me. There has to be a 10K resistor between 12 volts and pin 2. For some reason, if this is removed, the thing won't work. And that wasn't very clear. It took me a while to figure that out. Without further ado, I think I'll assemble this and show how it does work. Okay, so first things are all right. First thing, I used a battery charger enclosure. So I think this was for Canon battery charger. I made it fit the purpose. I kind of dremeled everything out to allow my board to fit. So it's not a very nice board. I used a headphone jack here. The potentiometer is here. It's adjusted to about 6 seconds. And there's a little switch that allows you to test it out. And the LED that shows when the relay is on. Again, not pretty, but this is seems to do the job. Okay. Obviously, that goes in first, and it's not held on by anything, so I just kind of get that. All right. Now this particular motor, it's got a connector here. So for this to go closed, I guess that's got to face away. Okay. I also made a little switch here. having some trouble getting this to fit. Okay, anyway, that's that there. The headphone jack gets plugged in here. If you can't plug this in while it's on because it's going to turn the valve on because the jack shorts out the contact. The paper towel's wrapped around the jack. Okay, so there it is. The power's plugged in. Okay, here's the valve. I'll spill some water onto the headphone jack just to show you it does work. So there's the light. I'll spill some water so you'll see this thing click on. All right, the relay shuts off after about a few seconds. And to reset this, all I really have to do is pull the ring. Okay, it snaps out. Okay, this is a brand new valve, so it's very stiff. Okay, then I jiggle that to get it to go back in. And the other thing for resetting, it's probably a good idea to cut the power and pull that off. Dry it off and put the power back in. And just for fun, let's see that again, but with the push button. So there it goes. And there it goes off. Anyway, I'm hoping this this will work for somebody, that someone will find it useful. I'm going to install it and we'll see if it works. Hopefully it does work. Thank you. Bye.